Hey everybody, my name is Felicia, and today I'm here to talk to you about the sugar-free diet and why certain things are important. Today's video is going to focus on the glycemic index, glycemic load, and a few fruits that I recommend and why I recommend them. So first of all, the glycemic index and glycemic load are really close. The glycemic index came out first, and if you've been working on diabetes and working with blood sugar for a while, it's what you've probably used. What it does is it measures the amount, the carbs that go into your body and how quickly your body releases glucose after you have ingested that. Glycemic load actually takes into account the amount of carbs and how it affects your body. So it's a little bit better and more poignant of a system to judge how your body's going to react. Now again, everybody reacts differently to different foods. Some things you're going to tolerate better than others. Some things you won't be able to tolerate at all. You really have to kind of get a feel for what works for your body, but these are going to be really good places to start. Now, each one of them uses a 3-level system: low, moderate, and high. For the glycemic index, 55 and below is low, 56 to 69 is moderate, and 70 and above is high. For the glycemic load, 0 to 10 is low, 11 to 19 is moderate, and 20 and above is what they consider high. Again, they're really close. The glycemic load is just a little more accurate, especially when you're dealing with something like a carb and grains, which I will actually talk about in a different video. So today, I wanted to talk about fruit. Now, when you're talking about living a sugar-free life, you're really talking about cutting out added sugar and watching the sugars that you do choose to put into your body. At some point, you can keep honey or a little of agave here and there, but you need to remember that your body will respond as if it was a sugar, not that different than a refined sugar. So really keep it as limited as possible. You really want to get your sweets from fruit. Whole fruit as often as possible. Frozen is a really great option because fruits and vegetables actually are flash frozen at their peak of when they have nutrients, whereas when you buy something at a store, it has been picked, processed, shipped, and sat in your house for however long, and all that time it's losing nutrients. So frozen is always actually a really good way to go. Now, the number one fruit I'm going to recommend today is cherries. Cherries seem, especially at the height of summer, that they're so sweet and delicious, but they actually have a glycemic index of only 20 and a glycemic load of 6. So it's nice and low. And the challenge with the cherries, though, of course, is the season's really short. So frozen cherries are a really great option to work with. The next one is grapefruit. And grapefruit is really awesome for a lot of reasons. Because it has so many different things in the citrus that has nutrients that your body needs. The glycemic index level is 25 and the glycemic load is 3. This one I want to caution you with: if you are on a medication, definitely talk to your pharmacist about grapefruit and let them know that this is something you might regularly be consuming, because there are several medications that interact poorly with it. And they do not necessarily tell you. My husband was put on a medication, and I specifically asked because of that, and he was like, they had to actually give him a different medication because the one that they just naturally gave him wouldn't have been effective if he had been regularly consuming grapefruit. Grapefruit is also the only juice that I can sort of support and recommend, because it does keep a really low sugar content, and for whatever reason, Trader Joe's has the lowest sugar and best fiber ratio. So if you feel like you really need a juice, you like grapefruit juice is the best way to go, unless you're doing a special thing and you can make it fresh at home maybe. But the next one is dried apricots. And the reason I say dried here, because usually I would not recommend a dried fruit because they're basically all sugar. Apricots are bruised so easily. So unless you have a local source, getting them at a grocery store, they're either going to be too raw because they have to pick them when they're still pretty green, or they're going to be too damaged to really give you what you need. So dried apricots are a really great way to do that. And even the dried ones only have a glycemic load of 9. Their glycemic index is 32, which is still not terrible. Now, pears are another big one that people really enjoy, and their glycemic index is 38 and their glycemic load is only 4. So all of these are really ones that are going to be able to be consumed in appropriate servings. You're not just eating them all day, and not really have a big effect on your blood sugar, which is, again, so important if you are diabetic or if you are trying to balance out your body chemistry for things like fertility. Apples are always kind of my solid go-to for at least one serving of fruit a day. Let me stress this again, not applesauce. Once you cook it and process it, you lose so many nutrients. Once you peel it, when you peel any vegetable or fruit, you lose most of the nutrients because the main source of macronutrients are going to be in the peel. So any fruit you can keep the peel on, any vegetable you can keep the peel on. Like when I talk about carrots in a different video, I'll say just kind of scrub them on the outside, and I try not to do baby carrots when I don't have to because they don't have a lot of the nutrients. The next one, apples. The glycemic load is only 5 and the glycemic index is 39. But again, if you can eat the whole apple, it has so many nutrients in it that is really important. Oranges are another good one. You'll notice pretty much all citrus is going to be a really safe one to have and not really spike your blood sugar. It does have a little higher glycemic index of 40, but the glycemic load is only 5. Plums are another good one that their glycemic index is 40, but the glycemic load is only 2. So, it really, really balances out. But I really also need to let you know that plums and prunes are different because prunes are going to be more of the dried version that are going to have a higher glycemic index and glycemic load, just like any dried fruit. They're basically straight sugar. Strawberries, one of my personal favorite. The glycemic index is 41. The glycemic load is only 3. That's a really, really good option to have a serving or so of. And whipped cream, especially if you can make it from home and you can make it with an alternative sugar that doesn't spike your blood sugar as a special treat, like coconut sugar or honey, the glycemic load and the fat and the sugar, all of it is really low, and that is an amazing treat to really give yourself when you're looking for something but you don't really want to go too far off course. Now again, if you're doing something like this for fertility, that is not an option until you are done because you cannot use any sweeteners. I will get into that in another video specifically for fertility, but no sweeteners, not a single bite. That's something to really keep in mind. You can have the strawberries, but not the whipping cream. Peaches. Strawberries and peaches are my 2 favorites. So this is really, I was so happy when I did the research and I found this out. So peaches are really great too. 42 on the glycemic index, but only 5 on the glycemic load. Now again, a lot of these are summer ones, so if you want to get frozen ones and do things with it, that's a really great option. The final one I want to recommend is grapes, and I cannot stress enough, not raisins, grapes. And that is, they have a 53 on the glycemic index because they do have a higher sugar content, but the glycemic load is only a 5 because they don't really have high-end carbs. So those are my top 10. I have other ones if you want. I really have to stress, I know everybody's like, oh, bananas, right? Because they're a really great option when you're sugar-free and you're not wanting to add that. I would really try and not consume more than half of a banana at a time. If you're looking for a potassium kick, avocado actually has 2 times more potassium than bananas do. So there's some really great options out there that don't have high sugar. I hope some of this information was helpful, and I hope you come back around when I have other videos and check out the videos about why to go sugar-free and the grains that we're going to talk about, fertility and other autoimmune diseases that are affected by sugar and why you should cut it out to help support them. Have an awesome day, guys.